We're learning more about the crash that claimed the life of a teenager Tuesday in northwest Wisconsin. It happened at the intersection of Highway 53 and Highway 77 in Minong Tuesday morning. Authorities say a northbound SUV was turning west onto 77 and pulled right out in front of a southbound semi, which crashed into the SUV. There were two people in the SUV, the driver and a 16-year-old boy. That boy died on the way to the hospital. The driver of the SUV remains in critical condition. The driver of the semi was not hurt. The names of those involved have not yet been released. The Minong Police Department says the SUV failed to yield. The crash, though, remains under investigation.